here on WKYC.com, also on YouTube and Facebook Live. I'm Dave DeNatale, and boy, I can't believe we're going to be talking about a 43-13 Cleveland Browns loss to start everything, but that's what we're going to be doing. And joining me to do so on the phone as we get started is the voice of the Cleveland Browns, Channel 3 sports anchor Jim Donovan. And Jimmy, I think you referred to this as a nightmare yesterday, and that's about how it feels this morning.
Yeah, it really was, Dino. It was a total disaster. I mean, everything that could go wrong went wrong, and it's shocking. It really is, considering not just all centered around the hype around the football team coming into the game, but just watching what happened and how things were not arrested even at halftime in the game. I mean, there were a number of penalties. They had 7 or 8 penalties in the first half, and you would think you would go in at halftime and just change the direction of the team and lay down the law that has to change. And they came out and they had 10 or 11 more in the second half. So, I mean, the penalties were absurd, and the only word that comes to mind is undisciplined.
Well, and that was the thing. I just put a poll out on Twitter, Jimmy, and everybody can vote right now at WKYC on Twitter. What disturbed you the most about the Browns' loss? And I gave 4 options: a leaky offensive line, defense getting worn down, the game plan or play calling, and of course, undisciplined play and penalties. And not surprisingly, that's the early leader at about 72%. It didn't get better. I mean, that was the thing, Jimmy. I thought that maybe after halftime, like you said, the Browns would okay, let's take a deep breath. Not everything's going the way we wanted it to go. Let's reevaluate and come out and play a disciplined, focused second half. But if anything, it got worse.
Yeah, it really did. And, I would say this, that Tennessee was just a perfectly prepared team. And I really commend Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff and Dean Pease, their defensive coordinator, for what they did, and Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator. And everybody kept saying going into the game, who the heck is this guy to be the offensive coordinator of the team? And he went in there and he really out-schemed, I think, Steve Wilks and the Browns going into the game, because I think that they knew the Browns were going to come hot and heavy after Marcus Mariota, especially with an unstable offensive line, at least going into the game, an unstable offensive line for the Titans, that the Browns were going to load up and really come after Mariota, that they would really try and sink their teeth into a pass rush. And that's exactly what they did, and they fooled them. They really did. They played into that pass rush. And what they did was they rolled them out a little bit, not a lot, but they bootlegged them out a little bit, and then they just threw screen passes, and they just sucked them in. And when they weren't sucking them in, then the Browns were hurting themselves by hitting the quarterback late. And it really was, for a road team to come into that atmosphere that they knew was going to be hot and heavy and really excitable, to come in and take the opening blow that they did on that opening drive by the Browns, and then just settle into the game right away on their first possession, get a roughing the passer penalty on the first offensive play of the game, and then Denzel Ward lost the receiver on the second play, and he hits the big play, and they come in and they get a field goal. I mean, they really did a great job. They really prepared themselves beautifully. I give them a lot of credit for that. But, the thing was, it was really catastrophic, Dino, the way the thing unwound on them.
Jim Donovan is our guest here on our very first After Further Review. I'm Dave DeNatale here at WKYC.com and on Facebook Live and YouTube. Jimmy, were you surprised? I want to stay with the defense for a second, then we'll switch gears and go to the offense. Were you surprised at how much the Browns elected to blitz, and whether it was Ward or Burnett? I didn't know if we'd see as much of that as we did with Steve Wilks, but that was something I wasn't necessarily prepared for.
I wasn't either, because really I think they were priding themselves on the fact that they thought they could get their pressure from their front four. And if you can do that, then you're really safe back in the secondary. And a couple of times, guys were just left wide open because they had blitzed through and given up a man in the secondary to come through. So, yeah, I was surprised at that. The other thing I was surprised at, for the amount of times that they did blitz, they really didn't get home a lot. They didn't get him down a great number of times. They didn't get an awful lot of hits on him. And I think it was his feeling in the pocket and his feeling of just not totally getting outside the pocket, but just drifting enough that he gave himself a lot of space. The other thing that was really smart about their game plan offensively against that Browns defense was there really weren't any long routes in the pass game. I mean, they did hit the play to A.J. Brown, but I mean, it was wide open on the second play of the game for them offensively when Denzel Ward lost the coverage. But other than that, it was a lot of dump-offs, to Delaney Walker, short routes, Adam Humphries. I think the way you beat pass rushes, you get rid of the ball quickly. But the blitzing came from nowhere. I mean, it came out of the blue from what we had seen, because they were just so proud of the fact that they thought that with that front four, they were going to be able to handle enough pass rush and get to the quarterback without seeking help from the back of the defense.
On the offensive side, Nick Chubb ended up carrying the football 17 times for 75 yards, but I got to tell you, it didn't feel like 17 carries to me, and I was waiting during the course of the game, and you and I have talked about this a lot, that they really thought that Nick could be a stabilizing part of the offense. If you get to a situation where the passing game isn't working or there's pressure on the quarterback or whatever, Chubb could get them kind of back in focus and back in gear. And I felt like they went away from that a lot. Even on like 2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1s, they were trying to pass the ball a lot instead of utilizing a weapon like they had in Chubb.
Well, yeah, I think that's going to be the dilemma that Freddie Kitchens and Todd Monken are going to have here, is that it's kind of like a kid in a candy store effect when you have those kind of receivers like Landry and Beckham, and you can just get them the ball on quick little bubble screens. And they gave one early, I think, on that opening drive of the game. They gave one to Landry out in the left flat, and he ended up giving them a big play. They gave a quick throw to Beckham. I mean, those plays to them, I think, not only satisfy those receivers because they're getting touches and they're getting the football, but they also, kind of add excitement, and there's the possibility that they're going to break a big play. But here's the thing. I think that the reason why Chubb, I think, disappeared a number of times during the game was because they were always 1st and 20 and 1st and 25 because of the penalties, and 2nd and 16. And, I think that any running back gets knocked out of the game plan when the down and distance is what it was yesterday afternoon. I thought that Chubb was their best offensive player on the day. I thought he ran hard. I thought that he did a lot of things to try and get them back into the game. If the game had stayed a 2-point ball game, after the touchdown by Njoku late in the 3rd quarter, Chubb possibly could have become a big factor in the 4th quarter of the football game. So I think it's twofold. Number one, it's your eyes are bigger than your stomach when you have guys like that, and maybe you get pass happy. And that's the dilemma. Are they going to get pass happy and forget about Chubb? And then the second thing was, the more realistic thing was, I think the penalties, putting them in bad down and distance situations, took the running game away.
What about we watched the way everything unfolded? I'm still trying to digest all this, because none of us saw this coming, like a 30-point loss. But we talked in the offseason about the offensive line, and would it still, even without Zeitler, would it still be a strength of the team like we saw it was last year? I got to tell you, I mean, it wasn't just one guy. I mean, the offensive line was leaky yesterday, and it didn't matter if Chris Hubbard was on the left or the right. That was a problem. Greg Robinson turning into trying to do a wrestling sweet chin music move from Shawn Michaels. Ben Axelrod's behind me will appreciate that one. Everything went wrong for the O-line yesterday.
Yeah, it really did. Dino, I go back to the 3rd preseason game against the Buccaneers down in Tampa, when they did play together in that game, and Mayfield played the first half of that game. And if you remember, if you can visually go back and remember that game, there were a lot of the same tendencies and scenarios in the pocket for Mayfield that presented themselves yesterday. And by that, I mean the pocket was crowded, and that's why he was a tick off in the game against the Buccaneers, and he was a lot off yesterday a number of times, and definitely late in the game when it was obvious that they had to throw all the time. So that was a problem. And the first indicator was the third game, the dress rehearsal game. When you came out of that game, you kind of went, ooh, I don't know. Is that just a one-time thing? Is that going to be okay? Because remember, they played the first preseason game against the Redskins, and they played early in that one series. But that was a hurry-up offense that they went into, and it only lasted 7 plays, and then they were off the field, all of them, including Mayfield, and they were done for the night. And they really didn't play at all in the second game against Indianapolis, and they didn't play in the fourth game. So there's that problem right now that a lot of NFL teams are doing some soul-searching about, and that is, do we play our guys enough in the preseason and have them ready for the first game? I mean, that's a bigger topic. But back to the offensive line, I think things would have been okay if Robinson doesn't get kicked out of the game. But Robinson himself, and even when he was playing pretty well at the end of the year last year, started to rack up a lot of penalties, almost like an average of 2, per game, even late in the year last year when they get on that good run. So I give Hubbard a lot of credit for having to move around the way he did yesterday. But you know what, Dino, the main thing that this goes back to, and we're going to go back a long way on this one, the fact that Austin Corbett was not able to go in and win that right guard job, and he's a top pick in the second round from a year ago, right at the top of the draft, that has a trickle-down effect because look at what happened. They had to go out in free agency, and they had to sign a couple of guards. Now, this is before what happened a week ago. And then they had to go on the night of the fourth preseason game, make a trade for Wyatt Teller from the Buffalo Bills, and then on the Saturday on the cutdown, they make another deal to get another guard to come in here. The fact that you had to do that, and you just were not able to take that kid and put him into the right guard spot, just caused a lot of moves that had to be made along the offensive line in kind of a Band-Aid type fashion. And imagine now, Corbett didn't even dress for the game yesterday.
I mean, again, when you're the first pick of the second round, you're essentially a first-round pick. And, right. I mean, the fact that he can't even get on the field right now, and they can spin it and say, well, he's our backup center. But, I mean, they needed him, yes. They needed somebody to be able to come in and shore up that offensive line yesterday. And, if you can't win a spot, you can't win a spot.
Yeah, I mean, really, you should have been able to just put him in there.
Right.
I mean, whether or not his future is going to be at center or not, and I'll lean on Doug Deacon on this. He always says, I mean, if you can play guard, you can play center. I mean, Eric Kush could go over and he could play center, but he can play guard right now. But that should have been Corbett. I mean, they're really, that I'm not. Corbett's not the blame for the loss yesterday, but the history of what has happened along the offensive line can be traced back to the fact that he hasn't been able to win the spot yet. In other words, they just don't feel comfortable enough with him to even dress him for the opening game of the season. Now, did he kick the guy yesterday? No, that was Robinson. Did he hold anybody? No, unless he held the usher taking him up in an elevator. That didn't happen yesterday because he wasn't part of the game. But that's a real indictment on that pick. In the high second round, that they were not able to do that.
Once again, we're talking about a Cleveland Browns team that can't win an opening day game. And you can sit there and say, and I think, people who are trying to talk others off the ledge are saying, well, yeah, but there's 15 more games to play. The fact remains, Jimmy, the Browns they haven't won an opening day since 2004. And it's now you have to go back in a trench and climb out of this again, and I feel it's like you're treading water again instead of moving upwards. And yeah, they can recover from this, no question, but this is just overall just so disappointing. Not only that the Browns didn't win yesterday in a game that we felt all offseason long was a must-win, but that they got embarrassed. That's even worse.
It is, and the scary thing is that 0-1 too many times becomes 0-3 in a hurry. And they have a road game on Monday night in New York, and that's always difficult for any team to go in and win on the road. And in that type of setting, I would imagine it will be pretty chaotic in there on Monday night. And then, you have the Rams after that. But the history says, 0-1, at least with this team, the history since 1999, 0-1 becomes 0-3, very, very quickly. And they always have that statistics. Teams that do not win early, that go 0-2 or go 0-3, I mean, almost never have any kind of postseason chances after that, after you get to that level. So that's the scary part of it. And, the other scary part is that if you really do have an offensive line problem, and, off yesterday you do, it looks as though that you might be in that category, that you have an offensive line problem. And if that is the case, it is very difficult to go out and find a big-time answer right now. And the other thing is, Baker Mayfield is not going to stay healthy if that offensive line is a problem, because he got battered yesterday and was in the x-ray room after the game. And I know everything came out negative, but still, I would imagine he's a pretty beaten up quarterback today. But the fact of the matter is that, he is not going, nobody would, and he's not going to sustain that kind of punishment game in and game out if that offensive line isn't going to protect him.
Well, it's interesting. Freddie talked about, Baker was holding the ball a little bit too long. He's been used to having good protection, for most of his NFL career. And, yesterday was completely the opposite. And it wore on him, and certainly with the interceptions in the fourth quarter were an example of that. But that the way kind of things spiraled out of control, Baker wasn't immune to letting it get to him a little bit.
No, and I would agree with Freddie, especially early in the game. There was a play down, I think it was their second possession of the game, where I thought he held on to the ball. He fumbled the ball, he got hit and sacked, he fumbled the ball, and they ruled him down back at the 6-yard line, and that's when Gillen had to come in and punt. And he did hold on to the ball too long. I made mention of it on the radio broadcast, and Doug mentioned, well, the reason he held on to it was because nobody was open. I don't know that that's a good enough reason to hold on to it that deep in the, in his own end. The other thing was, I was just surprised that they were throwing the ball out of their own end zone when he took the safety, with the offensive line being in the precarious state that they were in at that particular time. Lamb had just come in to take over the spot that was vacated when Robinson got kicked out of the game. They were pinned in. They were back at the 1.5-yard line. They had already had a false start just before he got sacked in the end zone.
Right.
At that point, I give it to Nick Chubb and I let him plow it out. And, if he's going to give me a yard, that's fine. If he's going to give me 5 yards, then it's going to be a more workable down the next down. But I was really surprised that they did that, thrown out of their end zone with that offensive line in such a hectic state of mind and with new people coming in. And they're all trying to adjust to the fact that Robinson had been kicked out and where they were on the field. But I would agree with Freddie that it was a little uncharacteristic of Mayfield to hold on to the ball the way he did in the game. And again, I'm wondering if it's because of the guys he's throwing to right now that he wants to give them such an opportunity to come up with big plays, that bigger plays, Dino, take longer to form out of the field. And that means the quarterback has to hold on to it longer.
Well, but you even talked about it, though, as we were getting ready for the game, that against this particular kind of defense, big plays may not be available. And it's like we saw on that opening drive, you can get to Tennessee with, 10-yard passes, 15-yard passes, and just kind of take what they give you and move the ball down the field. It doesn't all have to be, big plays, and maybe they got a little impatient after that first drive.
Yeah, that's the formula against Tennessee, and that's what they do coming in against you, is they bend a little bit. They might bend a lot, and then they're going to bet that they're not going to break, though, and that you're going to make a mistake if they're going to force you to go 10, 12, 13, 14 plays on a drive down the field, and they feel that the statistics are going to lean their way. And at some point, and then this did come true, at some point that secondary, that is a really good secondary, is going to get their hands on the ball. And of course then they did late in the game with the 3 interceptions. I have to give them, really, as badly as the Browns played, I just have to say that for a road team, I have never seen a team come in as beautifully prepared for a game at First Energy Stadium with that kind of atmosphere. The way the Titans were prepared yesterday, all eyes were on Marcus Mariota, and everybody gave Cleveland and the Browns such a huge edge in the quarterback category. And Mariota, he didn't do anything that was marvelous. He was just efficient. He was safe. And they were safe all day long. The Browns were never close to getting a turnover in the ball game either. It was just, that's the way they knew they had to play, and they executed it perfectly. And I commend them, but there's a lot of soul searching, I would imagine, going on in Berea today.
No question about it. Jimmy, we appreciate the time here on After Further Review, my partner on the Donovan Live postgame show. Look forward to seeing you later on tonight, Channel 3 News at 6, and then certainly get your thoughts tonight on Donovan Live at 7.
All right, thanks, Dino.
Thank you, my friend. All right, that's Jim Donovan, the voice of the Browns, here joining us this morning here for a few minutes here on After Further Review. Cleveland Browns lose to the Tennessee Titans yesterday, 43-13. We'll bring Ben Axelrod in just a few minutes, but I want to read some of your thoughts here on Facebook Live. Let's see, Jonathan, a couple of good thoughts, but he said about Greg Robinson, you're getting a ticket home, buddy. Don't need that on the team. I wonder if there's going to be a suspension for Robinson. We'll find out. Certainly there will be a fine for what he did. Jay says, what a sad showing, and it was sad. I'm not surprised the Tennessee Titans won the football game. I think they're a team that came in with playoff aspirations. I think they're a good team. I thought that it was going to be a close, tight ball game. I didn't see like that. Bob says the offensive line played the whole game like they were mad that Baker got married. Sharon says for high-paid players, there were stupid mistakes. Play like you want to win. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you guys. I think the one thing we thought about the Browns in this offseason was that, and what we saw in training camp was the Browns were going to be a physical, disciplined football team. Well, by the second half, they weren't very physical. Tennessee ran up and down over them, and they weren't disciplined at all throughout the game. I mean, 20 called penalties, 18 that I think were accepted. Already, let's see, 76% of you are saying undisciplined penalties, the thing that disturbed you the most. Just kind of reading some more comments here. It's hard for me to say the offensive line with all the injuries and ejections, said Buddy. Penalties is obvious, but the play calling was a really close second. All the play calling with that offensive line was a head scratcher. And that's why I wanted to ask Jimmy about that, because it just seemed to me that the Browns, again, on situations that you would think would be running situations, they went deep passing. They tried to make something that maybe wasn't there. John says the offensive line, whew, they can fix penalties and discipline. That offensive line is what it is, porous. Yeah, I mean, that's to me, and somebody brought this up, and I apologize, I didn't see who brought it up. One thing I was watching yesterday as the offensive line was struggling was watching Olivier Vernon, because, I mean, look, the Browns traded Kevin Zeitler, and guard is a guard position, but he's a Pro Bowler. You traded him to bring in Olivier Vernon because you wanted to really bolster that pass rush and give Myles Garrett some help on that defensive line. Well, the problem is, they weren't getting to the quarterback certainly nearly enough, and the offensive line was awful. Bo says the Browns needed to have a wake-up call. Yeah, I mean, it's like a cold water and splashing in your face today, Bo. You're exactly right. I'm going to bring Ben in on this point here when we get Ben Axelrod up here in a second. I don't know if how much of the preseason hype and the hype on the Browns was a part of yesterday's game. I think the Titans used it as a badge of honor more so than the Browns thinking they were all that. But I wonder. I mean, you get in your mind about a team and you say, well, how good are we? How talented are we? Does that play a factor in it? I don't know. We'll bring in WKYC.com sports reporter and analyst Ben Axelrod, who was at First Energy Stadium yesterday for the game. Mr. Axelrod,
hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing better than the Browns are doing today.
Indeed. First takeaways, as you kind of had some time here to process it from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, just totally mind-blowing, totally unexpected. It was kind of the one outcome I don't think anybody was ready for, and yet it felt like the one outcome in retrospect that we all should have been ready for. So totally blindsided. I think the Browns were blindsided for it, and you were talking about the hype, and I don't really buy into that being an excuse for why. I think the hype was warranted. The hype was because of this collection of talent and what they did last season, but we're going to learn a lot about this team now in the next couple of weeks because they play in prime time in each of the next 2 weeks and have the Ravens after that. And this first half of the schedule, I think it's all about keeping their heads above water because the second half of the schedule gets a lot easier. And losing a game at home to a team that if they're as good as everybody thinks they could be, that they should have beaten, that just makes it kind of tougher sledding from here.
Yeah, that because again now you're playing from behind again, like the Browns do every season. They start out 0-1 or last year 0-1, and you're it's like you make your journey twice as tough to try to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, it reminds me a little. Remember last season. Obviously the first half was what it was, but they made that run in the second half. But in the middle of the second half of that run, they had that weird loss to the Texans, where they just totally shot themselves in the foot, played very poorly in the first half, made it more competitive in the second half, but was one of those games where they kind of beat themselves. And it's the game where you look back at where the push for a playoff spot fell apart. It was that game. That game was the one game where if we could have had that Texans game back, then that last week against Baltimore counts for a potential playoff spot. And I just worry that this will be the game, even though it's only the first week, that they'll look back on because you only get 16 of these and every game counts in a competitive AFC, that they're going to look back on and say, man, what the heck happened against Tennessee?
It's the difference between making the wild card, not making the wild card, hosting the wild card, not hosting the wild card, something like that, where you sit there and go, man, if we had played better, look what could have happened. Biggest concern, I put it out there on Twitter, or the biggest thing that disturbed people the most. Yeah. The leaky offensive line, the undisciplined play in the penalties, the defense kind of getting worn down and kicked around there at the end, or game plan and play calling. What about you?
I wrote a story on WKYC.com last week about, and I felt like a kind of a wet blanket there talking about all of the things that could go wrong and the concerns that do exist on this roster. And they were the offensive line, they were the lack of depth on the defense, and really the inexperienced coaching I'd throw in there as well. And there's no reason to feel better about any of those things after yesterday. And I think you mentioned the penalties and the offensive line. I almost put those hand in hand because it felt
it kind of felt like it.
Yeah,
didn't it?
I know there were penalties, there were pass interference calls, and there were the Myles Garrett personal foul, but it felt like a lot of the penalties were coming on the offensive line. And my concern is that's a result of the offensive line just not being good enough. Right. It seemed like a lot of them were coming on the tackles and Chris Hubbard, and those are the guys you have questions about. Eric Kush, the right guard, that position is still unsettled even after they traded Kevin Zeitler all the way back in March. They still don't have a firm grasp on who their starting right guard is going to be. So, that's my biggest concern is this offensive line because one, as we saw once Greg Robinson got ejected from the game and then Kendall Lamb went down, they have no depth at the tackle spots, none whatsoever. And then two, we just don't know how good they are at those tackle spots especially. Yeah,
I mean, Cameron Wake just ate Chris Hubbard up. And it didn't matter if you moved Hubbard right or left. I mean, he wasn't
total
stopping.
Field day.
Yeah, total. I mean, and I'm just sitting there going, I didn't feel as bad last year, and it's not just because Kevin Zeitler's not there, but the other problem, the collateral damage of all that is that Baker Mayfield, if he continues to take hits like that, he's not going to last very long, and the Browns' hopes for victories this season won't last very long.
Yeah, and I didn't think Baker played great either yesterday. The offensive line, if you look at some of the next-gen stats, he actually had more time to throw than it probably seemed like, but he held on to the ball for way longer than he could have afforded to, obviously. And I also thought just the penalties just – it's hard to evaluate this team even just from a football standpoint because the penalties disrupted such a flow in the offense and such a flow in the game that it was hard to take anything away. It felt like they put together those 2 touchdown drives, and other than that, they were barely playing real football.
I wonder, and this goes back even to Thursday night's game, I wonder if we're going to see a sea change in the NFL going into next year now with how teams approach the preseason and maybe not be as cautious and conservative because clearly, I mean, the Browns weren't the only team
Yeah.
this weekend that didn't look like they were ready for the regular season to start, but it was pretty glaring yesterday that it felt like they were still, in some cases, still in preseason mode.
Yeah, and even aside from the preseason games, because I know a lot has been made about the Browns, taking a conservative approach with their starters and their players in those games, I thought just all through the preseason, as tough of a training camp as it was, with Odell and how often he was out there on the field, it just seemed like it was a conservative approach overall as far as gelling this offense. And this is a lot of new pieces that they're adding together. I thought one thing that was a little unique, and this seems strange to nitpick because it was ultimately something that resulted in one of 2 touchdowns for the Browns, but I thought it was weird when they got down to the goal line that they took Nick Chubb out and put in Dontrell Hilliard.
I did too.
It seemed like maybe Freddie was getting a little too cute with spreading the touches around, and maybe he thought there'd be more opportunities to get Nick Chubb his, but it wasn't like that where that was a drive where Nick Chubb was taking a pounding and needed to be pulled from the game. I thought I thought it almost seemed like it was a little too cute to get Dontrell Hilliard a touchdown on his first NFL carry. So I know that's a weird thing to nitpick, but it did kind of seem like they were disjointed as far as wanting to establish the run or wanting to get Odell involved and then moving to getting Landry involved. There was really no consistent flow, and I know the penalties had a lot to do with it, but I didn't think the Browns helped themselves in that regard either.
So, for people who are basically saying, okay, Freddie's got to go or Freddie's got to give up play calling, he needs, like the players, he needs to look at how he's calling the games, and he needs to kind of figure out a different rhythm, a different type of an approach. Just like the players need to figure out how to clean things up and be more disciplined.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways, and not to make excuses for the Browns because that was a nightmare scenario for them, but I think in some ways the Titans were almost like a nightmare opponent for them because I think the Browns are more talented than the Titans 1 through 53, but the Titans have a lot of players who have been playing together for a long time. They have a experienced a guy who's been a defensive coordinator for a long time in the NFL and now in his second year as a head coach, and Mike Vrabel, a guy who kind of counteracts everything that Freddie Kitchens wanted to do yesterday. So that was kind of the type of team that if it was going to punch the Browns in the mouth, I'd expect it to be a team like the Titans, and lo and behold, that's what happened.
What about the Jets? I mean, this is a team that, we saw them here last year. They're a team that feels like they're on the rise, not maybe at playoff level yet, but they feel like they're on the rise with Darnold. This is not going to be a cakewalk on Monday night, for the Browns, coming off of a loss like this, to go into New York and have to deal with the Jets on a Monday night.
Yeah, and the Jets are a team that had a heartbreaking loss yesterday, so they're coming off their own disappointing loss to the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be at home in a primetime atmosphere. Not to the same level as the Browns. They aren't getting those magazine covers and all of those things that the Browns were getting entering the season, but they're a team that had a lot of expectations placed on themselves this year, signing Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold coming into his second year and hiring Adam Gase. They were one of the more active teams in the offseason, a lot like the Browns. So, this is a team that if you were expecting, okay, well, the Browns got hit in the mouth and now this is the kick in the pants they needed, and they're going to come out with a higher sense of urgency. The Jets are going to be right there doing the same thing. So, this is a real test for the Browns, and I think it's a really urgent game in the sense that they play the Rams then on Sunday Night Football 6 days later, and you do not want to be coming back here 0-2 with the defending NFC champions coming to Cleveland for Sunday Night Football.
Because that, like, as Jimmy said a few minutes ago, that's when we've seen years where 0-1 becomes 0-3 very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing can go in many different directions now after this.
Yeah, and the Ravens after that. I mean, this is not an easy first half of the schedule. They're two give-me games with the Bengals are on the second half of the schedule. I mean, it does get a little easier with Buffalo and Miami after the bye week, and you can only take it one game at a time at this point. But really, it's like I said earlier, if this team was going to live up to expectations, this was a game that it seemed like they should have won. Yeah. So now they have to make up for that loss somewhere else.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I appreciate you stopping up. I look forward to reading both you and Matt Florjancic. A lot of stuff coming today on WKYC.com in the aftermath of this, so we'll look forward to reading it. And also, reminder, Chalk Talk every Wednesday. It comes out about noon or so.
Yeah, it comes out around noon. 0-3 on NFL picks this week. So much like the Cleveland Browns, we've got some ground to make up.
You needed another week. How did Camino do?
Camino did a little bit better. He had a good college weekend.
Okay.
I did not. So.
Okay. Thank you, my friend.
Sure
Appreciate it. Ben Axelrod, WKYC.com sports reporter and analyst, joining us here as we kind of recap the Cleveland Browns' 43-13 loss to the Tennessee Titans from yesterday. Let's get to some more of your thoughts here. Alicia says the Browns must stop shooting themselves in the foot. They were their own worst enemy. Too many mistakes. No question about it. No question about it. And then you sit there and you say, well, how do you do that? How do you fix that? How do you make that better? You got to play disciplined. You can't hold. You've got to do a better job as an offensive lineman coming off of the ball, keeping your assignments, not holding on to jerseys. You got to know your snap counts. Defensively, you can't hold. You can't commit penalties on special teams. You've got to clean it up. Let's see what Barbie says. They will be just fine. They need to work out the kinks. I hope so. I hope so. Look, there's a long way to go. Ben said it, I think, very rightly so. There's a lot of talent on this roster and on this football team. But they look like they needed another week to get ready. And unfortunately, they didn't have another week to get ready. That was the regular season. That was the way things started. So, let's see. Somebody says they have their volume way up. They can't hear me anymore. Huh. That's all right. Well, Brian, are we up all the way? Yeah. Okay. Anywho, I'll tell you what, we'll wrap it up there. Again, reminder, WKYC.com, Matt Florjancic and Ben Axelrod will have stories all day, kind of recapping this. Freddie Kitchens will be talking to the media around 1:30, I believe, today. So recap on that. And then tonight, Channel 3 News at 6, Jim Donovan will have his thoughts on sports, and then certainly at 7 o'clock on Donovan Live. So we've got a lot more, many outlets for you to kind of vent and let us know how you feel about this loss. But this is going to take a long time, I think, for a lot of people to get out of their systems. Thankfully, you've got a week. Jets next Monday night out in New York, and that will be the chance for the Browns to get their first win of the year and get this out of their system. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. The first edition of After Further Review. I'm Dave DeNatale. Have a great one, everyone.